What's poppin'?
Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Beta. Thank you for clicking on this video. I deliver content on HR on my segment of HR Speak. I also deliver content on interior design on my segment of Design Life. And I also like to share anything on life, just life experiences. So thank you so much. If you're new, please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and also share. You could help someone who needs this information. So yeah, today I was really conflicted on whether to, you know, do a video on HR Speak or on Design Life. But I thought let me just continue with my series on HR as I edit the other video on Design Life. Yeah, but I'm hoping to also deliver the same this week. So yeah, today we will be speaking on the next employee benefit, which I feel is very important, and that is medical insurance or medical cover. And as I always say, and as I always remind people, I don't speak, um, you know, very complicated HR jargon. I like to discuss these things so that you can understand, even as a layman, even as someone who's not working in the department, that you're able to relate with that which I'm speaking about, and also to try and make it quite, quite clear for you. So yeah, one of the benefits is medical insurance. Again, like I said, benefits are additional perks. They are not a must. They are not mandatory for for employers, sorry, to provide to their employees. So for medical cover, just like I talked about pension, I talked about NSSF. So in Kenya, in particular, there's NHIF, that is the National Health Insurance Fund, which we make contributions to depending on your it varies on the pay band that you're on. So if you're on a certain range, there's a certain amount that is remitted by your employer to NHIF. But that's a contribution you make from your pay yourself. So other than NHIF, there's a medical insurance that the employer provides as a benefit. So of course, just like any insurance, the goal is to, of course, cover you in the event that you're sick or in the event of any unexpected high medical costs that you may incur. So that's why you will normally receive a medical insurance. And some of the things today I would like maybe to talk about, because I know insurance companies, of course, have been demonized a lot when it comes to medical covers, and of course how they handle you when you go to hospitals, or how hospitals handle you as a result of the cover that you have. But before we even bash them, we're not saying they're totally innocent, but just to understand that for you to receive a medical cover, if you're covered by a certain insurance company, the insurance company is contracted by the employer, and the insurance company is acting from the instructions of your employer. So while working in the HR department, and if your HR department or administration department is the one that is administering your benefits, then a lot of those discussions come up. The insurance companies, there will either be a tender process where the organization will request for tenders from any medical insurance providers, and it's from this that the organization will have already given what is it that they require, the terms of reference, what cover they want, what are those things that need to be in that cover. So when insurance companies, of course, bid, and then maybe a few are selected, they will come and have a conversation with the employer. So in that panel, you find there's HR, of course, sometimes even the CEOs get involved, the CFO, because this is money. And for most companies, of course, this is something that is very, they need to be very keen on how much are they spending on the medical insurance cover. So it's during those conversations that your employer will actually now, be clear to the insurance. This is what we would like for our employees. And every insurance provider that is present will provide a quote. And the quote will normally provide the premium amount that is required to be paid by the employer to the insurance provider, so that you can be provided with the medical insurance cover. So just to understand, and some of the things that I find, people complaining about in terms of insurance, what you need to understand is what your insurance cover entails. Because yes, you come maybe to the employer and you're employed, you're given a medical card, you're told you have an insurance cover, but are you aware of what your employer is providing you with, or what the medical cover entails? So one of the things that you need to know is that there is an inpatient cover. So an inpatient cover will cover for when you're admitted in hospitals. And sometimes under the inpatient cover, you will find, they've put in other things such as chronic illnesses. They have provided for when you have an accident, or when you have an eye injury, something like that. I'll talk about optical and dental, and why I'm speaking about eye injury in the inpatient. So the inpatient cover will be discussed, and what are the provisions? Some provisions within the inpatient cover will be limited to a certain amount. So you could have an inpatient cover of 1 million or 2 million, but let's say in case your eye, you get injured in an accident and your eye maybe is injured and it needs surgery, or you have a chronic disease, like you have maybe high blood pressure or diabetes, or cancer, let's say cancer. But when you go to the hospital, you're told this is only covered up to 500,000 shillings. But you're admitted. So your insurance, according to you, maybe your inpatient should be up to 2 million. So that's what I'm saying. You need education to understand what does that cover entail. Sometimes it will be sent in form of a document. So you need to go through it. So within the inpatient cover, certain other illnesses have a limit. So within the 2 million, it could say then diabetes or this chronic illness is covered up to 500,000 shillings. And so some people will go to hospital and be very mad and raise their voices and everything. But it's because they do not understand what that means. Other than the inpatient cover, we have also the outpatient cover. I'll talk about the most common, covers that we have, especially in our market in Kenya. So outpatient cover, you'll maybe get a limit of 100,000 shillings or 50 or 500,000 shillings. It varies from employer to another. So if you are entitled to that, one of the questions that I've received is that, or something I've had people complain about, is the copay. So you could go to a hospital, or a certain hospital, and then you're asked to pay 500 shillings, to contribute 500 shillings to the, what is it called? To the consultation fee. So that 500 shillings is the copay. So you're copaying together with what the employer has provided for you to receive this service. So it is the employer, in discussion with the insurance provider, that has agreed that in order maybe for the premium is the amount charged for you for the employer now to receive that service of the insurance cover. So in the negotiations, because I've sat in those rooms, the employer could ask, what can I do to make sure this premium goes lower or down, or becomes not as much as it is. So one of the solutions that insurance service providers provide is you can have a copay. So a copay will work in, they can choose in whatever way that it can work. There's the copay where if you go to certain hospitals, maybe the high-end hospitals, maybe if you go to hospitals that charge a consultation fee of 3,000 and above, or 2,500 or 2,000, depending on how your employer feels, then there you will be asked to pay an amount. It could be 500, it could be 1,000 for you to go to those hospitals. So by you being asked to pay a copay, what they are doing is they are discouraging you from going to those hospitals that are very expensive. There are some employers who will say, have a copay on all hospitals. So you could be going even to the clinic near your house or something, but you need to pay 200 maybe to get that service. Like you need to pay 200, and your employer, depending on what they have agreed, they can pay the balance. So those are some of the things that happen in the background. Another thing that, and maybe even just before I finish on the copay, one of the things that as HR we are aware of is that we get reports. And in one of the organizations that I used to work for, we realized that people used to go to hospital on Sundays. Like weekends were like, hospital was an outing. Like, because we analyzed and we get the data analyzed, and we even look, the insurance will analyze and even tell you, the sort of illnesses that are common maybe in your organization. Maybe it's something you need to look at. Maybe the air, maybe if you're in manufacturing, maybe the air or the noise, people are being affected in terms of hearing. Maybe it's a chest congestion or something like that. So there were very many statistics that could show when people go to hospitals. It's I know it's not the thing to it can even be contentious to say, but some people actually used to go to hospitals on the weekend. It's like somewhere to go, and nowadays hospitals have a place for kids to play. And when you look at the user of the medical card, it's the maybe the children. Like they used to go, like there was a pattern, like you could tell. you know you can't say that your kids only get sick on the weekend, or maybe that's the only time you could take them to hospital, but there was a pattern. So those are some of the things that make the employers may put in a copay for you when you go to hospital. Another cover we have is the maternity cover. Some employers will not even think about offering maternity cover. I remember I sat in one of the meetings, and I remember the CEO was there, and they were very categorical, and they said, you know what, pregnancy is not an illness. It is planned. You're going to get a baby in 9 months, so can you plan for it? Like you could actually fundraise and pay for your bill. Like I said, it's a benefit. So they're looking to minimize costs as much as possible. Yes, we try to fight as HR, because we're looking at it like how many people really uh, go on maternity in a year. And maternity is once in a year anyway. It's not like someone will go twice. But how many people even that once will go? Like you're trying to argue that. And they say, actually, yeah, if there are no people that are going, why would I pay maternity cover, sorry, for all employees? Because also insurance, how it works, then if you're taking maternity cover, you cannot choose that if I am the one that's pregnant, then you cover me. It doesn't work like that, because you see, they're bringing funds together in the hope that these funds will not be used, and that's how they make their money. So there was maternity, yes, maternity cover. So you need to know what is covered. You need to know, are you covered for cesarean? Are you covered for all cesarean sections that you'll get? Or are you just covered for the first one that you'll ever get? One of the organizations, I think, used to cover for the first. So if you've come from another organization and you've had a CS before, then it's not your first. So you need to realize that, yes, it's the first in this organization, but it's not your first CS. And what that means is that, of course, because you probably got the CS in the other organization, this one was a guarantee CS for you. And so by that, you're not eligible to get that. So, and in another organization, they could cover CS for first or second or third, but up to a certain limit, maybe up to 100,000 shillings. So anything up over and above the 100,000 shillings, you pay for it from your pocket. So those are some of the details that you need to look at and you need to be aware of, so that you don't go to hospital and be very frustrated, or you've not even carried money, or you're not even having money, and you're just there and wondering, what organization do I work for? So please request your HR managers or your administrators to give you an education. And one of the things I have found to be very effective is that the moment you onboard an insurance or a medical insurance service provider, ask them to come and educate your staff. They are very willing, they are available. We used to call them even on a Saturday, and they would come and they would give the talk and they would be asked questions, and so our employees would understand. And even if you will not understand everything at that instance, and at least you have the information. So another cover that is there is the optical and dental. And most of the times you'll see them either paired or separated. And one of the things I want you to be keen on is that for optical and dental, it can come in as either a family package or as a member per person per family, per person in the family. What this means is that you can imagine I have my glasses, and maybe I have a daughter who has glasses. I have maybe my husband as well has glasses. What does that mean if you're covered per person? It means if you're covered 10,000 per person, it means I can get glasses for 10,000. My husband can get glasses for 10,000, and my daughter can get glasses for 10,000. If it's covered per person. But it's limited also. One of the other things maybe I didn't mention, there's a limitation to how many people you can cover. And also, those people need to be your members of the family. They need to be either you, your husband, and your kids, up to maybe 4 kids. Most insurance companies will limit to that. But if this is not, I'm not saying they can't cover if they've negotiated for more, but I'm just saying that's how it works. So if it is per family and you've gotten 40,000 per family, then it means if I as the mother goes and uses 40,000 to get my glasses, then everyone else in the family has nothing to use. So your optical medical cover is depleted. It's finished because one of the members of the family went and used the whole allocation. Same as dental. So if it's dental per family, and most times you'll see it per family, because there's a way, either it's cheaper when it's per family, or it's cheaper when it's per family. Then if someone goes and maybe does a root canal or whatever it is, then the cover is, depletes for the family. So you need to know what your cover is about. And then another very important point that you need to note is the exceptions. What is not covered in that medical cover that you've received, and the insurance company will list it. Now it's up to you to know if it's covered or not covered. Like the cosmetic surgery, those are not covered. If for instance your company doesn't cover CS, they will put it in the exceptions. If they don't want you to have sunglasses, they'll put it in the exceptions. So you also need to go and see what is not covered so that you don't go to embarrass yourself in hospitals, you know. And the other thing maybe that we needed to speak about is the limit. What is your limit? What is your outpatient limit? What is your inpatient limit? What is your maternity cover limit? What is your optical dental limit? You need to know what your limits are so that you stick to those. Because when it ends for that year, it ends until the next year. And you never know what the allocation for next year could be. Your employer could decide, this year our costs are too high. We are going to actually cut the medical cover. And like I said, it's a benefit. It could be cut, you know. So even as we go to hospitals, even as we go and make noise and say this one is not covered, I have a cover, why are you denying me this service? First, get your facts right. Understand your medical cover, understand what is being offered, understand everything that needs to be, to be understood by you before you go to hospital. And also, use your cover wisely. I've been to I've been to companies that will give you very high, and then there are others that will give you very low. And another thing that worked for us in one of the organizations is we said, okay, this is what the organization can afford. Can you then, as the insurance provider, give us options where our employees can top up? Because there are people with families, but and this cover that you're giving them is good, yes, but it's not sufficient. And when you're insured, it's better because really, you know how illnesses and medical costs can be quite high. It can hit you so hard you lose everything that you've ever worked for. So as a solution, we said, can you give us maybe some three other options, you know? So we say, can you maybe do the outpatient to be a bit more, and one that has outpatient to be a bit more, another one that has inpatient maybe a bit more, and then another one that has more maternity. Maybe there's one or two people that have planned for, for that year and they want to be covered. And that's your HR or the people that are negotiating that can request for that. And now maybe when you watch this video, it's something you could suggest to them so that they are saying, can you give us this other option? I know it's very, in terms of HR and administratively, it looks very hard. But what you do is they give you that, so you have 1, 2, 3 options. What you do is email all your staff, email the staff and let them choose what they feel is viable for them, and then let them ask to be deducted in the salary, so that amount, now as you pay the premiums, as the company pays its premiums, then those premiums can be added so that these people have a better cover. And I feel when as an employee you're provided with those options, you'll be surprised, most employees will take the option. Most people will think that maybe employees never want to add cash or anything. But if a medical cover is very important to an employee, trust me, they will add it. They will add that, those few thousands of shillings. And medical cost or medical insurance is not cheap. It is not cheap, but medical costs either are not cheap either. They are very costly. I'm sure you've known someone, or someone either in your family or someone that even a friend that has had a relative incur so many very high costs on medical, and they've had to even sell properties and everything. And so for people as well that are not maybe employed and are not covered by the employer in terms of the medical insurance, it is something you can as well consider. You can talk to one of the insurance agents. Take your time to listen and to understand. I know there are a lot of negativity and negative stories about covers, but when you understand what you're getting yourself into, then you'll not have those problems. It's a case of, what am I covered for? How much does this cost? Then you can calculate. What I've seen most people that are not employed, what they will probably take the cover for is the inpatient. Because outpatient, really, it might not cost you that much, because if a case is outpatient, you either walk in, get some drugs, get some consultation, and walk out. But when a case gets to inpatient, it means you're being admitted. So that means you're going to spend a whole lot more of cash. And so you need to think about that. You need to plan for that. We don't want, people finding themselves, in circumstances where, they have to beg and everything. And we know some cannot afford medical cover, but I'm seeing a lot of, like, even I think I've seen Equity Bank offer. I have not gone deep into that, so I don't understand it, but I'm just guessing it's something that they're targeting the population with. Another thing, NHIF as well as really, really, it has improved, if I can say. They are paying for things that you're not even aware of. If you go to a hospital, sorry, and you need maybe, a MRI, if you need, just ask. Just ask. Can NHIF cater for this? And also NHIF is catering for even outpatient. You need to register for a hospital that you can be going to. Even the people that you have in your homes, if you have helps, if you have parents that have retired, if you can't get them a medical cover, just make sure you're contributing to the NHIF. The NHIF, when you're not employed, you only pay 500 shillings a month. Yes, when you're not employed, looks a lot, but when that medical cost hits you, it will be so much more. I hope this helps. I really feel every time I'm talking, I feel like there are things I've forgotten to talk about. But I hope this gives you just an overview, a perspective of what you need to look at when you're being given a medical cover or medical insurance. You need to understand. And so if there's anything else that you feel I should talk about, you can leave it in the comment section. And if there's anything that you could even want to add, if you're working in the insurance space and there are certain things that maybe I've left out, you could also add them. And maybe just to, I don't know what I can say, but I could add that there are certain things that look like they don't make sense. There's somewhere I worked where the cover was like 10 million, and then eyeglasses were like 10,000 bob. That's the limit. It's because optical can be quite expensive. So you need just to understand what it is that makes these things, vary, and not make sense. You're looking at it, you're thinking, why 10,000, 10 million, and then 10,000 or 12,000 for optical. So I really hope this was helpful. And if you need someone that is very, is a specialist in these matters, I can bring someone. Even if you need someone who can give you a medical insurance, someone you can trust, you can also ask me, because I've dealt at least with a lot of people that I know and I feel would be best advisors, or that could guide you well to get an insurance cover. Don't get to a point where you have to sell property. At least have NHIF. Please have NHIF, and also talk to a provider so that you can know how much you can afford to get for medical cover. You'll be surprised, maybe you can afford. And so thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned something, and I'll continue with this series talking about more benefits. And just before I finish, there's the most medical covers will come with a last expense. A last expense is an amount that's given in case of loss of life. So they will, that's something they've now added on into the medical insurance. In case you lose someone that's covered by the cover, then they will normally give you an amount. So yeah, there are some things to consider, and there are some nice things in it. Let's not just, because someone didn't understand the insurance, or some insurance company never paid some money to an hospital, and so you are you're treated not so well. Yeah, let's understand them. Also, they're in business as well. Maybe it's the companies that are not paying the insurance companies on time and not paying the hospitals. I don't know. It can be either. The insurance companies, as I began saying, they are not innocent as well. There are certain things, there's it's called what, the blueprint. So there are certain writings that are very small that people do not read. But anyway, I'll stop here. And if I've forgotten anything, maybe I'll do another video. But I hope that was helpful. Please, 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 if you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you feel there's someone that can benefit from this information, please share it. And please as well, remember to subscribe. Remember to subscribe, don't just watch. Subscribing is free. Remember to hit that subscription button, and also hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time we post a new video. Thank you, and kwaheris.